to Meanwhile at the Castle, episode 3. It is September 21st, 2016, and I'm excited because now I'm here with Queen Emily!
Hi!
My sister, our best friend.
Oh, thanks.
So Emily,
yes.
I've talked about you for 2 episodes,
Fun.
but you get to actually introduce yourself.
Okay, let's see. I don't know what to say. I'm Emily. And I know that Deborah talked about in the first episode that we both love to make a lot of things, and we're really into all kinds of, what was the phrase you were using earlier? Homemaking.
Domestic
arts, that's right. Or also heirloom arts. We like heirloom arts as well. And I love knitting. It's probably my biggest passion as far as all of those arts go, although I do crochet and sew and other things like that as well. But then I think you mentioned that you taught me how to knit, and now I'm teaching you how to knit, right?
Yep.
So she taught me the basics of knitting, how to cast on, how to bind off, and kind of knit a square. And it was pretty much all I knew how to do. And then just a few years ago, I really picked it up and got heavily involved in that. And
so I can take a little bit of credit.
Yes, you can.
For your
yeah.
glory.
And it took over my whole life, and now I just knit constantly. And so anyway, I love to do that, and I have 4 children who are 20, 17, how old is Isaac? He's 11, almost 12, and then a very spunky 8-year-old daughter. And you'll probably hear her in the background at some point because that's her style, is making lots of noise. So she'll be around.
Yep.
And yeah, and I mentor a lot of teenagers, and I read a lot of books, and I teach a lot of classes, and I make a lot of things. So that's me.
All right. So actually right now I thought that we should explain the chicken collection.
Chicken collection.
So,
is this Ella's chicken collection?
So we're
that's
in
so funny.
My daughter's ballet studio while we're building my sewing studio outside. So right now my middle daughter, she is staying in the ballet studio. It's her room, and she has an obsession with chickens. And people give her chicken things all the time, and I beg them not to.
But they're so cute.
And so it's a chicken collection. Someday that will be gone. From this room.
From this room, yeah.
From this room, and it will grow in her.
It's super fun, though.
So
you guys are kind of the crazy chicken ladies.
We are.
I like it.
We don't have other pets, but we have chickens. And
that's better than our goldfish, because we have the 2 gigantic goldfish.
And you can't knit them a sweater.
No, you can't. You can't knit it. You could knit your chicken sweaters.
So,
which
we may do, maybe.
Anyway.
So and are your goldfish still alive?
The 2 we have now, I kind of wish they weren't. It's really awful, but they're huge. They're like that big.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
they
really
started
big.
out this just teeny, and they're huge now.
I understand that goldfish continue to grow to the size of the space that they are living in.
So I don't think that they get quite, well, I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out, I guess.
Get a bigger tank and see.
I don't want to. They were like 12 cents at the pet store. I didn't know I was going to invest the entire life in these goldfish. But my kids are in love with them. They are Mr. Collins. And I can't remember what the other one's name is, actually. That's pretty sad. We had Charlotte and Mr. Collins.
That's perfect.
And then Charlotte, she died.
Okay.
She was just too tiny. Anyway,
okay.
Those are our goldfish. I actually can't remember our other goldfish's name. That's really embarrassing.
It's not I forgot. DeBerg.
No, before Charlotte, we had Lady Catherine DeBerg, and we called her Milady.
So,
but yeah, you can tell we're a little Austen-esque
fans.
Yeah,
That's okay.
It's true. So.
All right, so since we are quite in love with knitting,
yes,
we'll start with knitting.
Yay!
So
my favorite thing.
We're going to just talk about it all and
okay.
put all of
Excellent.
the finished objects along with the
works
in progress and just talk about it. Okay. So why don't you start?
So my oldest is 20 years old, and he is actually on a mission for our church. So he's gone for 2 years with no dating or girls of any kind. And my next oldest is 17. So it's a little bit crazy that I'm knitting this much for future grandchildren. I just am obsessed. You don't think that's good?
No, because when my youngest was 5, I was saving her toys and told her I didn't want her to use them.
I have some like that in books. Yeah.
I was like, don't touch them.
I'm kind of crazy about that, but I've been knitting things for future grandchildren.
Okay.
So this first one is, I just love this.
It's really cute.
It's really cute. It's called Boy Sweater, and the pattern is by Lisa Chemery. And it's just this really cute, simple shawl collar sweater, and has a really nice texture pattern at the bottom. That's a kind of a mock. It's not a cable. It's just a mock cable, a fancy twisted rib pattern that goes around in the back and all the way around. And I just think it's so cute. It worked up so fast. This is in a size 18 months, so it's a little bigger. And the color looks pretty true right there. Yeah. This is Cascade Effects yarn. It's a worsted weight, just really basic. But it was super fun to knit. I like this. I don't love all Cascade yarns. I mean, but this has kind of a crispness to it. It does,
but it seems like, well, you usually wear the onesies underneath them. So
yeah, I don't think it would be too itchy.
I'm just thinking babies. I always felt guilty putting them in clothes after they were born.
Well, I mean, I think this
for an older child.
Yeah, this is an 18-month, and I think this would be definitely something you'd wear over your clothes on a fall day, which just perfect time of year.
The collar is really cute.
So it doesn't have buttons because I'm a chronic procrastinator when it comes to putting buttons on sweaters.
I like it without it, actually.
Yeah, except for it's got buttonholes.
Oh,
you just kind of need to have buttons for that. But it needs some. I actually bought the buttons. They're cute wooden buttons. They're kind of square with a circle imprint in the middle. So that's really fun. That was really fun to knit. Super fast because it's worsted, and like I said, I like the crispness of it.
I want to know who came up with the word worsted. I don't like that word.
Worsted. I think it sounds better if you're British.
We don't have the right accent.
You know, if you're Danny on Little Bobbin's
she
podcast,
makes everything sound good.
Everything sounds so
elegant,
classy. It sounds classy. So then I have this one, and again, this one doesn't have buttons yet, but look how teeny it is. It's so
like
tiny.
we need reference. Sorry, just a minute.
Well, like compared to,
I was gonna show this doll later.
The same size as my head.
We gotta show it on this doll.
Oh, okay.
Because look how, in front of the doll. This is a little doll.
It's a little bit big for the doll.
It's big for the doll, but I'm just thinking.
It's like a 0 to 3 months, I think.
It's like preemie.
I don't think it's preemie.
It's so tiny. Okay,
I guess
doll wasn't a good reference.
We'll find out once we have grandbabies.
Okay.
But this little one is called Lancashire Dream, and the pattern's by Gabrielle Dance. I think it's Dance Knit. It's I love this pattern. It's very basic. And it's got the cute little stripes, but obviously, you could leave this out. It is just a great basic cardigan pattern. And I think it's sized from newborn to like children's size 14 or something like that. So you could make this for any size. And it was very nice knit.
And how long did it take you to make that? Because you did it so fast.
A couple days. I mean, it was when we went to the retreat, the mom's retreat, so I had sitting and knitting time.
But you still had times where you were busy doing other things, so you didn't just do that. But
no, but I had, a few hours of class time to sit and knit, plus the drive, about an hour and 20-minute drive that my husband was driving. He went and volunteered to help there, and so I knit in the car. But this is Wonderland yarns, and I just think Wonderland yarns are the softest. Yeah. They're definitely a light fingering. I want to show you these cute navy stripes.
So adorable.
I love the tonal variations in that gray. But it's just the coziest, softest yarn. And Wonderland yarns are, like I said, they're definitely a light fingering, but a typical skein of fingering has like 512 yards. So you really get a good amount of yarn. I could easily make 2 more of this, I think. Well, if I inverted the blue and gray, a couple times, so I could probably get 2 more little sweaters like that. But I don't have a lot of boy things. Most of the things I make are little girl things, so it was kind of fun.
Girl grandchildren.
If not, you will. So
I have the girl gene in my family.
So anyway, that was a pretty fun one.
Yeah.
So one more thing that's finished, and I haven't blocked these, but it's just a pair of plain vanilla socks. And I feel bad because I didn't write down this yarn, and I can't remember what it was. It's one that came.
I was with you, yeah.
Yeah, I bought it at one of our probably my favorite knitting store, which is Knit and Pretty in West Jordan, Utah. And the owner is Lauren, and she's just the nicest.
They are the best
lady there. I just love her. Yep. But this is a cute skein because it's got the kind of stripy yarn, and then it came with the smaller skein for the heels and toes. And these aren't, like I said, aren't blocked. But this was my first time doing an Afterthought heel, where you actually knit the whole sock, and then along the heel stitches, I actually knit in a scrap piece of yarn all the way across those heel stitches, and then just kept knitting on top of it. And then and it's like a provisional cast on both ends. And so later when you went and picked that scrap yarn out and put your stitches on your needles and knit the Afterthought heel.
Did you make these for you?
I made these for me, so I have big feet, but I'm not sure how in love with them I am. I tried them on, and I don't know if this is, I mean, it's just a plain vanilla sock. I think I'm just gonna like the way, I really like the way a heel flap and turn with a gusset fits on my foot. I don't like the bunching I seem to see with all of these in the front of the foot with these other like Afterthought heels that are very square like this.
That's what I heard actually from a lot of people, not necessarily about the bunching here, but they didn't like it because it was very difficult to fit it to your foot.
Well, yeah.
Because you couldn't try them on, you couldn't...
Well, I think that most of the people that I see that do Afterthought heels are actually knitting toe-up socks, which would be smart.
Okay.
I never knit toe-up socks, so it didn't even occur to me to do that until I was already into it, and then I thought, I have no idea if this is the right...
Do you have, I can't remember what it's called, the sock measuring guide tool that you slide in your socks?
I don't, and I need one. I mean, that's really ridiculous that I don't have one, but I don't.
Do you have sock blockers?
I have sock blockers. I got lazy. I made these and then I stuck them in my little cart and left them there. But I like how, that's a fun little look for when you fold up your socks to have the heel sticking up like that. I think you get that with Afterthought heels, and you get it with like a Sweet Tomatoes heel, Fish Lips Kiss heel, any of these short row heels. They're a little bit more
square,
right angles, and I like the heel flap and turn and gusset. It's just not as cute when you're trying to do those contrast heels and toes. So anyway, but it's kind of a fun experiment there.
Wait, I want to see on here in the corner.
It closes up really nicely.
It did close up really nice,
but it's not perfect.
No, but they did close up nice.
Yeah, that's one thing I don't like is the holes you get with the short row heels. And I don't think I get that with my flap and turn.
Okay.
My flap and turn and gusset socks. I haven't seemed to do that. I'm going to knit a lot more socks this fall, so hopefully I can perfect.
Here, I'm going to show
that.
Something with, wait. Yes. Since we're talking socks.
Okay.
Talking socks.
Sock talk.
Okay.
Oh, that's cute.
I dyed this one.
You did?
I did.
Love it.
I wanted it to just have a little hint of lavender in it.
Yeah, so you have to show that.
So it's gray, and it's got some lavender and some little bits of charcoal.
I love that. Oh, it's...
But it's...
What is this base?
Merino, cashmere, and nylon.
MCN. I like that. Oh, look at that purple right in there.
So I really like that one.
That's a pretty, pretty yarn.
So or I think I've never knit socks.
I know, you should.
So I'm going to knit socks, and I was trying to decide which one, and everybody's like, well, vanilla sock is the, basic go-to sock, so I thought I was going to do that, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Except for I'm not going to do a provisional cast on in the Afterthought heel. So...
Yeah, that was just an experiment.
So I'm going to make socks with my very first pair. But I was looking at the pattern, and I'm thinking, this is the beginner pattern?
For the vanilla socks?
Just for socks in general. So I stayed up late last night watching a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to do all of the different steps. So now I think I can start it.
You can just come sit at my house and make socks.
I can, but I'm not a fast enough knitter for you.
We'll just come at the beginning of the next step.
Okay. Not have patience.
That's what I love about a vanilla sock is that anytime, it's just in my head. I don't have to look up at a pattern or anything. I just know. And plus you can adjust it really easily. I know that with my big feet and being not a teeny person, I like a larger sock. And so a lot of the socks I look at are a 64 stitch sock, but this is a 68 and it just fits my leg better and so on. So it's easy to adjust it for any size. Once you just kind of figure out the formula, then you can make anything. At any given time, if you are stuck somewhere without knitting, but there's a yarn store, you can just go buy one skein of yarn and even, a pair of a set of DPNs, and off you go, making socks.
Well, I wanted something that was going to be mindless knitting, and then I was looking at the pattern and thought, that's not mindless knitting. Maybe after I've made a few pairs.
Well, but I mean, like, once you get into the leg, it's just around and around and around.
Yeah.
And then you get through the heel, and then it's just around and around. So,
yeah. So
really
hopefully
nice.
that'll be good, because the project that I'm working on right now is not mindless knitting like I was hoping it would be. So I'm excited for that.
That's awesome. And that's
so I'm gonna
really
do my
pretty
very first pair. You'll have to help me when it's time to
I
figure out the
really
fitting
love that
of it.
color.
But it's so soft.
Oh, it's just really pretty. It's wintry.
I know.
Oh, yeah. And it's
Wait, I want
really
to see
pretty.
it compared to your gray that you have
Oh,
here.
yeah. It's a really
because-
similar gray.
Yeah, it is.
It's a very similar gray, but then you've got that purple. That purple is just so pretty.
I like
It's not quite showing up as much on the, I mean, there's a hint of it right there.
Yeah, it's not a lot. I just
Ooh,
want
but it's
little
just
bits.
enough to kind of, but that, yeah, the grays are very similar.
I like it. Because
love
I like that it's got this tonal. It's not, I mean, it's really difficult to get a complete, what's the word? Solid color when you're
but who
hand
wants a
dyeing.
solid color?
But exactly, I don't want a solid color, so I like that.
It's
You
so
know that I got the
pretty.
variations in the
This
gray.
is kind of what I'm looking for in my pink.
Well, that's
that I
why
wanna
I said
do.
you needed to come over that day, because it was all set up and ready to go.
I know.
So
What
we'll
was
do
I
that
doing?
again.
I can't remember what I was doing. People were at my house or something.
You were having to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyways, so there was
That's
that
beautiful.
one. And we dyed this because this was where I was starting.
Oh,
off.
that's fun.
Now this one's worsted.
It's
weight,
worsted.
and it's the
Hold it
Peruvian wool, and so it doesn't ever look quite
Come
as
on,
pretty.
you gotta get
But
it up there.
what I was doing with this
That's
is
so fun.
I was trying to get a gray with a little bit of purple, and it didn't work so well.
Uh-huh.
And so I threw in some other stuff, and I really like it.
It's
So-
really cute. See, I mean, you can tell by looking at Deborah and I that this is going to appeal to me. I mean, just look at what I'm wearing compared to what
Yes.
you're wearing. That this is going to be appeal to me more.
Well, this
than to
doesn't
you.
necessarily appeal to me, the color, so much as the process of
doing
dyeing
it.
it.
Well, that's the
So-
thing about making any kind of making is the process is the point.
So I really actually
that's
like that. I
cute.
want, if I was smart, I would
I
have dyed
love
enough
those
to make
blue
a full sweater
speckles.
for
Oh,
Nadia.
it's super cute.
Yeah, I like that one
You
a
could
lot.
still get something, a cute hat, and
Yeah, I'm
maybe
definitely
even
going to do a
design
hat
it.
with that one, because there's
that's way fun.
so.
How fun.
And I like the speckles right here. Okay,
I do like those
okay,
speckles.
I like this part right there.
That's
That
really
part.
cute.
I don't know why.
How
but it's
fun. I do
Okay.
like that. That's awesome.
All right, now I was talking about my socks. Now you talk. What else did you have?
Okay, so those are my finished projects. I only have one project on, well,
Okay, you made your bag. Show your bag.
oh, this is my bag that I made. And it's not, it doesn't have any interfacing or batting in it. So it's a very floppy, slouchy bag. But I still like it. It's
So
cute
you
fabric.
usually like them to be floppy.
Well, yeah. And I didn't make I made this like a little tab, but I wish I would have made it a wrist loop. Although this is a larger bag that I wouldn't necessarily want to carry on my wrist. It would be too much weight. But I really only have this one project on my needles currently that I'm actually working on. I have another project that's been in timeout for about 6 months that I don't know, I'll probably just unravel. But this is the Hito Fude cardigan.
It's pretty.
And I've been, seeing everybody posting their Hito Fude cardigans, and they're beautiful, and I love the lace. But as I just mentioned a minute ago, I'm kind of a bright kind of colors girl, and I didn't know how that would work in a bright color, but I'm doing it anyway. So I love this yarn.
Very
Let me
pretty.
show you a cake of it so you can get a better view.
It is so pretty.
It is real. This is kind of a messy cake. But this is Shusui by an indie dyer, King Fiber. I think her name's Amy King, Qing on Etsy. And I don't know if this is not showing up as vibrant
This
as
side.
it actually is.
All the speckles that you see on the
Let's
bottom
see.
there.
Yeah, there's just all these speckles in there. Little tiny flecks of black, which I don't wear a ton of, like any ever.
Well, good thing
black.
is that it's small.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. This is actually looking a little washed out on the camera. It's just a richer blue than that.
Yeah.
But it's such a fun color. And I think it's kind of knitting up to look almost like a floral print.
It does.
And it's not anything easy to look at because you can't really even tell what shape it is because the lace is so crumply. But a lot of people are familiar with the Hitofude cardigan. Hitofude, I guess, means like single brush stroke.
Okay.
And you basically never all this whole sweater is knit in one long strand. So it's a really interesting construction. It's been really fun to work on, especially once I finish the sleeves, because the sleeves literally go from here to here, and it's this whole rectangle. That's a lot of long rows. But I'm actually down on the body of it here. My needles are clicking away.
Do you have a picture of the pattern with you?
I do. Let me find a picture of it. It's the rows are getting really long again. Let's see if I can find I always crumple up my patterns. They're very. Here's a picture of the Hitofude cardigan. If you can see that.
That is pretty.
Anyway,
yeah,
it's very pretty. So it's a little flowier. I usually kind of wear a little bit more structured things, but I thought it would be fun and different from what I usually do. And I like knitting shawls and lots of lacy things. I enjoy the process of knitting the lace, but there's only so many shawls that one girl who doesn't like to be over hot can wear.
We do have winter like 8 months out of the year.
Well, maybe not quite. But even then, if I'm inside, I'm like, get this thing off me, because I just get too hot. So, a cardigan is a good try. But I really enjoy that.
What was the other pattern or the other project that you were going to unravel?
So Andy Satterland has these adorable like vintage patterns that they look very 40s, 50s. Oh. And I knit one for Aria, my 17-year-old. In fact, she was wearing it today, and it's super cute.
Yeah.
That yellow.
Oh, I should grab it from her.
I don't know where she is, but yeah. Anyway, and it's really cute, and it fits her really nice and everything. And so I just wanted to make her another one of those because she wears it all the time. And my 17-year-old is a seamstress. She sews beautifully, and she loves making vintage-inspired dresses. And so she has all these really pretty dresses, and those cardigans just look so cute with them. So I made another sweater, and I got it to the point where I'd constructed the whole thing, and I was just putting the ribbing around the front. And I had her try it on, and it's the same pattern out of what I thought was the same weight yarn, but probably not because it's way too small.
Oh. And
so I don't really have anybody that I could knit it for. And I like the yarn, so I'm not quite sure if I want to unravel, and I mean, it's literally an entire sweater. If I want to unravel it and save the yarn, or if I want to just finish it and find somebody who could use it and would actually appreciate a hand knit sweater, which some people don't. That
sometimes is a challenge. Yeah. I used to have a gift closet because I like to make a lot of things that I had no use for. So I just make the things because they made me happy to make them, and then I put them in the closet and then wait until I found the right person that needed a present for their birthday or Christmas or anniversary or whatever. But I haven't made as many things over the last few years.
Well, so many people don't understand handmade, and especially I think quilts and knitting or crocheting, that's one thing that they don't really understand, the hours and the money that goes into something like that.
Yeah. I had somebody ask me one time if I would help them piece a quilt top and make it into a quilt because they didn't have the money to buy a bedspread.
Well, I guess if they're trying to make it out of like vintage, or not vintage, recycled things that they already had.
That was not. They wanted to go to the store, pick out fabric, get the batting, get the backing,
It's like when somebody asks you to help make a wedding dress because they can't afford to buy a wedding dress.
So I made 2 of my sister's wedding dresses.
Right.
And it ended up costing the same amount as if they were to buy the dress, and they were shocked by that. But.
Well, and that's the difference. I think that our grandmothers, they sewed and they made things, they knitted, they canned their food and different things because that was the way you could afford those things. But that's no longer why we do it.
Well, and the fabrics a lot of times were less expensive compared to now. I mean, inflation and all those things still were less expensive, but they reused everything.
That's so true. And you remade this into that.
Yeah, and because of that made it possible when somebody wore, out a coat.
Mm-hmm.
They made it smaller, made it for the next child.
That's
They
right.
cut it down. You would not waste that wool. You would cut it down and resize it, make it for
I
another
love
person.
seeing that movement happening now.
Yeah.
The remaking and the refashioning.
Yeah.
So I love that, which is one of the reasons why I'm okay unraveling a sweater.
So yeah.
Because then I still have that yarn and
Yeah, you could do that. I know that there are a lot of people that they do that. They go to thrift stores
Mm-hmm.
and they'll look for wool sweaters and they'll
Yeah.
unravel them and use yarn to make other things.
Last year I did that several different times with my friend Jordan, who's an avid knitter and a very economical one, and she
Okay.
loves recycling. So we went to a few thrift stores, looked for wool sweaters, and then you have to come home and wash them and then unravel them. And you know what? I did that, and I actually knit a few things out of it. A couple of them turned out okay, but 3 of the things that I knit, I actually still have sitting there and I've never given.
Oh, really?
Because the yarn just, I'm probably not I'm missing a step or something, because I'm sure it's better. But the yarn quality, because it had been knit and then unraveled and washed, and all of this, it looks a little ratty.
Oh.
It just wasn't a nice
That's a lot of
yarn.
work to put into
Yeah.
something you'll not use. That's
Okay.
unfortunate.
All right. I want to see your.
Okay, so I said last time, that podcast you did not watch.
I didn't. I'm so sorry. I was
That's
so
okay.
busy.
No, that's okay. That was the busiest time of year.
Yes.
She doesn't even know. I put in a little slideshow with pictures of her in it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Some summit pictures from
Oh.
Master United Summit and Crown with Virtue Summit.
Oh, okay.
So-
there I am.
So she's in there. But I said that I was going to start. Actually, let me just get the book out because it's too hard to see in that pattern. So I have a book that I got, Knits from an English Rose. And I wanted to start knitting. I've been knitting doll things primarily because I love doll things. And so I decided I was going
You
to
like
start.
dolls?
By the way, Emily, I like dolls.
It's weird.
So I decided I was going to make something for me, but I wanted to start small. So I thought I would make the Muriel Paisley capelet or caplet. We still haven't decided.
I don't know. There's actually a
There's
capelet.
two. There
Those
is.
words are both correct.
Okay, actually, there's one if it's spelled Caplet. It's a different thing. And
Right.
it's a caplet, I believe.
I believe that a caplet is kind of like, think Three Musketeers, like the cape that you kind of wear on one shoulder.
Okay.
But I'm not sure. I
have
could
no
totally be
idea.
wrong about
But
that.
this is what I'm making. Let's see. I don't know if it's in focus. We'll hope it is. So I wanted to start something that was smaller and that would be simple. So I had this brilliant idea that let's start with this because look, this is small. So I was doing this because I didn't want to knit anything with lace. I didn't realize this was lace.
What did you think it was?
I have no idea. I just saw the cabling at the top and thought, oh, that's really pretty.
It is really pretty.
And so
Really,
I
really
started,
pretty.
and first thing, it's got this picot cast on, and I'm like, I don't know how to do
I
that.
have never done a picot cast
It's
on.
really actually very simple. So I just got on YouTube, and I'm like, how do I make a picot?
YouTube. How did anybody ever learn to knit? Well,
They
with old
sat,
ladies.
Exactly. They
Which
sat
I
around
miss.
and learned how
Yeah.
to do it. I do miss that, actually.
Mhm.
So I did the cast on that looked really pretty,
That
and
is
I got
so pretty.
started on it, and I was like, well, I don't know anything besides yarn over. What's a slip stitch or slip knit? SSK. What is that? So I looked that up, and next thing I know, Emily's looking at this, and she goes, "Oh, the lace pattern looks really pretty." And I was like, "Lace? I don't want to knit lace." So I've been knitting lace. Okay,
that's awesome,
so let's get this
Deborah.
the right way. Okay, so apparently, I know how to knit lace. Oh, the
That's
bottom
so
you can't
pretty.
see because
The
without it
picot's
blocking.
down there.
It's
Yeah.
got picot edging on the sides and the bottom.
This yarn is just yummy.
So this one is 100% baby alpaca. We showed that one before. I really like. Sorry, I just love cables. Cables are my
Cables
absolute
are really
favorite.
pretty. And that's a beautiful single. I like the simple.
Yep.
Just single cable.
And
right
this,
there.
I really like. This ribbing,
Mhm.
I really like this one. So this one.
Oh,
is,
it's just a garter. It's just garter stitch.
so
isn't
no.
It? Yeah.
So it is. It's actually.
With a slipped edge.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what was different about it. There was something different about it. I don't know. I told you that I don't know how to knit lace. I don't know what all
Well,
of these
it looks
things
like
are.
you have a slip stitch along the edge. Is that right? Do you
No,
slip the
actually,
first stitch?
it's just knitting. Never mind. It
It's
is
just a garter.
just garter stitch.
Garter stitch
It is
right
just
there.
garter stitch. I was thinking there was something special about it, but it was actually the other edge.
Oh, with
this
the
pattern with the picot. So,
and this is fun because you're knitting it from side to side. It kind of knits
yep.
around this way.
Yes, and this was yarn that my husband bought. I told you at NPS, this industrial
so
store where they sell like home improvement things. But he found a rack of yarn and called me. Do you want some yarn?
It's like it's what is it? It's like closeout things they buy by the pallet and that kind of stuff.
It's actually things that are lost in shipping or sometimes damaged in shipping.
Oh, okay.
And then they end up getting it. At least it's how it began.
You're right.
And there's one that's for like home goods and things, but this one is all.
This was in the industrial section.
In the industrial section.
Industrial
and so he called
alpaca.
me and asked if I wanted yarn, and I asked him why he needed to ask, and just send me pictures so I could tell him which ones to get. And so he sent me pictures.
That's a pretty color.
And so that was really nice.
It's very you.
So it's not quite the right red.
It's a little bit like
this
raspberry.
This is more of the right red, but I like it.
But look at it up to by your face. It's so pretty. Very pretty.
So the only thing with this that I will say, because I really like this and I've enjoyed knitting it a lot, was that I wanted something simple that I could just have as somewhat mindless knitting. And I don't know why. It's because I'm inexperienced and thought this would be something that would be easy to take with me wherever I go. I mean, it is easy to take with me, but not easy to knit when we're talking. I've had to undo so many rows of this that I probably would be just about done. I'm halfway right now. So, but the pattern repeat is 48 rows, and it's all written out. And I'm realizing
there's no charting.
If it was charted, I've never knit with a chart, so I'm like, I don't want to knit lace because I don't want to use a chart.
I can
now
kind of see why it would be hard. Well, no.
Well, so here it is. It's one pattern. I'm going to try to find the one pattern.
The one pattern repeat.
Yes. So it's the 2 paisleys here and 4 cables.
So it would be a big chart, but there's no reason you couldn't chart that. It just would be so much nicer if it was.
But I did discover a trick, which may not be anything new to anybody else, that really helped me a lot, was keeping track of my patterns. Emily was saying, you're just way too precious with your patterns, but apparently she hasn't met me. And that I don't crumple everything up, and I don't mark everything up. Like mine, it's now
on the floor because it fell.
So, but with all of anyways, I needed a way to keep track of where I was on everything. So I got my little, what do they call these? Page markers. These little metal page markers, and I use those and I slide them down to the next row and where I am. And that helped me a lot. So if you're like me and you're apparently too precious with your patterns.
I just put a big cross. Well, not when you're repeating it, but.
See, and I've got 6 repeats, and there's no real reason. I mean, I don't want to show every pattern.
But you're marking it up now. I see that you have stuff written on your patterns.
Well, I was on row 3 when I started. I didn't have a chance to mark it up.
It's okay.
I didn't have a chance to mark it up yet.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for teasing you.
Which, it's okay. We tease each other a lot.
That's true.
But I did think that was kind of funny. You're too precious with them, and I do have it. And, so I'm keeping it nice and tidy because it keeps it contained. So I like it. I like this one, and I really want to finish it really fast because
it'll be really cute for
it's
winter.
Getting colder, and every day that it's a little chilly when I wake up, I'm like, knit some more, hurry.
I know.
But I can only knit
faster.
A maximum of 15 rows a day. That's the max I can handle.
Hands.
So I do 15 if I can, if at all possible, each day.
So let me ask you a question about alpaca, and I'm interested in what anybody has to say about this. I love the feel of alpaca, the softness of it in the finished garment, and when you're feeling a skein of alpaca, it's so yummy and squishy. But I feel like when I'm knitting with it, it's mushy. I don't know if that's before I was commenting about the crispness of this yarn
because
and how I enjoy working.
Let's see that one.
Okay, on this. I enjoy knitting with that crisp yarn.
Because this is kind of floppy. It doesn't, I mean, you see the details of the stitches still really well with this yarn.
And I think it turns out beautifully. I don't enjoy the working with it as much, which you would think I would. Super soft yarn going through your hands. And I definitely don't, really love anything very scratchy or anything like that. But a little bit before we started filming, you needed that one of your rows unpicked. And so I sat there and did that for you, and I thought, oh, it just feels kind of mushy. Like, I'm not giving a good description of what I'm trying to say.
No, I actually do know what you mean, because looking at like your socks here and knitting with this, because I have some yarn that I was knitting.
This was a little stiff for me.
Yeah, this one is stiff. I'm looking at also your little sweater though. That this one I think is really easy to. It would be easier to work with.
Yeah,
it's easier to work with. It would slide through your hands easily. I don't know exactly.
Well, and I think it's the same thing. Alpaca almost kind of reminds me of acrylic. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but give me a second. Well, you know, we'll be in the store, we'll be shopping, and my kids will see these like super fuzzy, fluffy blankets, and they'll go run their hands over them, and oh, they feel so soft. And I'll go and feel it, and it's not a natural fiber, you know, and I'll just be like, ooh, I don't like that. It feels like greasy almost, or I don't know,
when you rub your hand
plasticky.
over it, it kind of almost like the squeaky, like.
I just don't enjoy that, yeah. And so I really love the natural fibers. And so alpaca is still natural, but anyway, I'm just going off on this tangent, but I was just wondering if.
Okay, what was the question then?
Well, just what do you, does anybody else have that same kind of weirdness about alpaca, or am I just
You're the only one.
Out?
I think I want to raise alpaca now because I love the yarn so much.
It is very soft. It's so warm. Like,
I really like it.
Maybe it's my aversion to heat. You'd think that being a knitter, I would love just to be buried in layers of knits, but I get so hot. I have one more thing to show.
Let's see.
Okay, really quickly about knitting. So in October, on October 7th, it's my birthday, and it's also the West Knits Mystery Knitalong starting for his new shawl, Stephen West's new shawl. And I am so excited because I've watched people do the last two of them, which I believe were the Doodler was the last one, and then I think the one before that was Exploration Station. And I've been watching that happen, like on Instagram and Ravelry, and seeing everybody's pictures, and just the timing wasn't working out for me to do it, and I was so jealous that everybody was having so much fun with this mystery knit-along, and I wasn't. And so I was really determined that when it came around again, I would do it. And it happens to start on my birthday, so it's the perfect timing. So I am just working on trying to pick out my 4 yarns.
Oh, okay.
And so these are the 4 that I'm currently considering. And I'm trying to decide if this, or if I need to go buy myself a new yarn because I don't have enough. Okay. So the first one I have is, I need 4 skeins of yarn, and he's calling for Hedgehog, the Hedgehog Sport weight, which is kind of just it looks like halfway between a heavy fingering and a sport. But I can't find any, and I can't afford it to buy that much. So I'm going to do fingering and just make a smaller gauge. So I have, this one is an Anzula Nebula, and this is called, the color is Denim, and it's got silver stellina in it, that's sparkle.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty.
It looks really nice there.
Oh, that's very pretty. So that's number 1 color.
It looks a little more blue here than I saw there, I think. Well,
yeah, it's definitely supposed to be like a denim. It's a,
I like it.
Not a super saturated blue, but it's not gray.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one, this is the skein that I bought when we went to the Fiber Festival, which was a little underwhelming for me, but it was still kind of fun to do that.
I loved it.
We had a Fiber Festival here in Utah, which we don't have a ton of, which is crazy because we have so many crafters and makers in Utah.
I just don't see really much of knitting and fiber related groups and
and we have some really, really great knitting
even
stores.
on Facebook. I found one that.
So maybe we'll pioneer that. Maybe that's our job.
No activity on it. So
we need to pioneer the kitschy knit nights and things like that here in Utah.
That's what I want to do.
I know, we need to go to the chocolate and do it there.
What?
There's this, I'll go way off on that subject.
Okay.
So here's number 2. This is Alexandra's Crafts, and she was here from Silverton, Oregon. And this is just a really beautiful one. I don't actually know this is Emerald Forest. That's pretty. This one has gold stellina. It's superwash nylon and gold stellina. And So we're
That's
mixing
pretty.
our gold and our silver
Yeah, that would
sparkle.
look really fun together.
So those two look really nice together. I like these two together.
Yeah. And with the silver and the gold.
Right.
Very pretty.
So there's the two so far.
Okay.
But then I've got just my favorite, if I'm looking for a cream color, I don't know what this base is. One of my favorite indie dyers is Up in Yarns. Lorelei from Up in Yarns on Etsy. And she has just some of the funnest colorways.
Yeah. I tried to get some a little while ago. That didn't go so well.
Did they go too fast?
So fast.
She has this really fun collection, the Stranger Things collection right now, based on the Stranger Things TV show, which I think is really cute. But anyway, when I was doing she did a custom dye for me for that striped sweater I made. And I had this skein left over, and it's just a cream color, but I love the quality of this yarn, and I like that this is kind of a warm cream. Sometimes your cream colors look a little grayish.
I'm trying to see where the sun isn't washing
covered.
it out.
Yeah.
Wait, there we go.
Okay. So, and then I thought, okay, those three are obvious, but then I needed a surprise. So then I've got this Wonderland.
Oh, this one just came untwisted.
Oh, it's okay.
Sorry.
So then this is a Wonderland, and I can't remember the color right now. All of a sudden it's...
I love that.
You like this combination?
Sorry, the color. It doesn't.
Oh,
you don't have
it's
the
so
band.
pretty. No, hold on. Let me see if I can remember.
I'm gonna put this cane.
There's a more muted pink than this. It's a lighter one called Tulip Roots. But I can't. They're all named after Alice in Wonderland type things, and I can't remember the name of this color. I'll look it up and we'll put it in the show notes. But it's okay. I can fix it. It's all right. But I like this combination.
Okay, wait. Let's put it back. Like
there we go. So there's the four colors that I'm thinking of.
Yep, I like it.
It's really beautiful. But now here's the question, Deborah. Is it me? Because I'm making this for myself. It's my birthday present.
That's closer to me without this.
It's a little bit too muted, I think.
You should make it for me then.
So I should make you my birthday present?
The present is that you're casting it on your birthday.
Oh, that's so nice of me to do that for you.
It is.
So there's those colors. I think they're pretty.
I really like that one.
So I love every one of these yarns, and I actually like them all together. I'm just...
Now, here's the other thing, though, is that the tones of them are all quite vibrant. Like, is it going to be enough contrast? I mean, like, the colors are still contrasting, but is there going to be...
Why are you unscaling all my skeins?
I just picked it up. It's because I'm flopping them around.
I was too.
But... so do
we have enough change in the color value?
Yes, do the trick. Yeah, do the trick of taking a picture of it, black and white, and see.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll do that.
Of those.
Yeah, I mean, in the instructions that I got, the preliminary instructions, I'll fix that later. That I got, it says that really, I mean, any four would do. Try to have some value as far as speckled or variegated to non or just tonal, which I think I've got there. But I don't know. We'll see. I have till the 7th. I've got 2 weeks or so to figure it out.
I think if it's not going to be you, the one that's not you is actually that denim.
I know, and I love that.
Yeah.
But it is kind of muted.
So your bag.
And then this bag, I feel so bad. I can't remember who I bought this from. It was an Etsy purchase.
And there's no tag.
No, I will definitely give you the information to put in the show notes. But isn't that the cute bag? And the fabric at the bottom says stitch, stitch, stitch all over. And that's just I like this. This is a great size. And it's got a good loop on it. And it's just a fun bag. So that's fun. I'm trying to organize more. So I'm making and buying more project bags. So I don't have just massive piles of yarn everywhere. That's all my knitting. Okay. That was plenty. Okay. I talked so long about
knitting. My knitting. I showed this bunny last time, but she needed a dress.
Oh, it's so cute.
Now she has a dress.
Hey, this is the fabric you put in the purse you made me for my birthday last year.
It is. So she's adorable.
Or 2 years ago. It's my 2 years ago purse.
And
she is so cute.
Always the best part. Sorry. The little tail.
Oh, I know. Those tails are so fun.
So I love that one. And actually with this, you know what I made it for?
What?
A giveaway.
Oh, fun! Yay!
Okay, but I have to show you. I showed you last time, but now that it's finished, my 8-year-old daughter, no, how old is she?
She's 9 and a half.
Wrong child.
Oh, which one?
She's 13. Anyways, she tatted this lace.
She made that?
For me to put on this dress.
Yeah. I didn't know she was that good at tatting. I didn't even know she was still working on it.
So how are we going to give it away, Emily?
So fun. Well, I want to be selfish. Everybody who comments on the alpaca question.
Okay.
Because this bunny is made of alpaca,
It
too.
is. Okay, so it'll be in the Ravelry group thread, Meanwhile at the Castle.
So cute.
And we'll have a question about how do you feel about alpaca yarn.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Look at that cute little knitted bow. That's so fun. How long do we want this to go?
Should go till our next podcast.
Yeah, so, okay.
It might be,
Look how
I don't
cute.
know, what if, it might be 1 week, it might be 2 weeks, because I don't know how long we'll be.
Let's do a minimum of 2 weeks.
We'll do 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks.
She's
so you need
cute.
to go in and you need to be a member to comment of our group.
Excellent.
So go join that.
I love it.
She's so fun to make. So fun.
You know what I think is so fun about this? She's a little cotton rabbit pattern, right?
Yep.
I love how different they all look. Even though you're from the same pattern, everyone has its own little personality.
Well, this one was supposed to be a boy, so she's definitely different.
She's so cute.
She's going to watch over us here.
Hang out with the chickens?
Yep. As long as they don't all fall. Oh, I'm sorry. Take a nap.
Okay, she's sleeping with the chickens. Sleeping with the chickens, like sleeping with the fishes. Is it all
That's
like
your
that?
term.
You're sleeping with the chickens.
Okay.
Oh,
wait, I have one more knitting thing. I'm sorry.
Good.
Okay, just yarn related thing. Okay, so we've been experimenting with dyeing. I keep saying that because I love it so much. And my 9-year-old
She's 9.
Time flies. She wanted to knit or dye her own. And so she got creative and decided exactly how she wanted to do it. And she made her own. And it's just a little mini one. And she called it, this is her cotton candy colorway.
That's so cute.
And with it, I'll have to show you. I'll show you. Okay. I'm going to show you what she's doing with it. Okay,
I love this.
This is in some of the things that I got.
Projects by our daughters is just...
Yes. Okay.
They're just the best.
So I'm on this online, Facebook book group kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best one ever. And every time somebody says anything about a book, I end up having to buy it.
That's why our libraries are exploding.
Yes. But the most recent one were the Mary Frances Knitting and Crocheting book. Now, they didn't have any of the original editions, which I really wanted, unless I wanted to pay exorbitant prices, which I didn't want to. But I thought this would be fun because my daughter has been wanting to knit and crochet. But what it does is it tells the story of Mary Frances and her little helper friends that teach her how to knit. So it's a story, and as you go along in the story, you learn the step by step how to knit and how to crochet. And when you're done, you will have made all of these projects for a 14 to 18 inch doll.
So there's... Oh, these are just precious.
This is
and
from
cute.
1930. I gotta see the
Well,
the
it
year.
says 100th anniversary edition. So when did that print?
Just a minute. I'm gonna hurry and look and see. It was first published in 1912
That's
to
so
1921,
cool.
and so you'll see a lot of war story, like
World War I
references in here, and thus the styles of dresses and things. But it's really fun. So it takes primarily worsted weight yarns, which is what she was knitting or dyeing with. So this will be really fun to start with. So
how fun is that?
So it'll be really exciting. Okay.
I wish my 8-year-old would do that, but you can't get her to sit still long enough. She really wants to. And I think she will as she gets older and she can actually like make her body be still for a few minutes. But it's hard to knit if you're upside down.
She may be the first one.
She might.
If
anybody could, it would be Abby.
She would. Okay, so you talked about things that you got.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I showed that skein. I haven't actually bought a lot of yarn recently, which is really good for my bank account, but makes me sad.
It makes you sad.
But my birthday's coming up, so hopefully that means
more yarn. More
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, so I showed you this book, and along with it, there's several others in the series. I did get one of the earlier editions of the sewing book, which does the same thing, teaches you how to sew for little dolls and different projects, I believe.
That's so cute.
When we finish going through this book, we'll go through that book, maybe.
I love that her name is Jane Eyre Fryer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same spelling,
differently.
but Jane Eyre, or Eyre, probably Eyre.
I actually don't know if we'll go through all this book, but I had to get it because my children actually sew.
They do
quite
a
proficiently.
Lot. Yes, they do.
So I don't know. And then this one I bought online used book, so it's got all sorts of stickers on it. But this is patterns to knit for children and their dolls.
Oh,
And you know, I love dolls.
those are cute.
So there's some really fun ones in here. Oh, this little shrug. This little green shrug for the girl, and then one for the doll. For the doll, it just looks like sleeves there. But
Well, they're just showing it from the front.
from the front.
I like that little vest that you just passed.
There was one for, I don't care about the ones for the boys. I only have
She
girls.
only has girls, so. Well, and my almost 12-year-old isn't going to wear that, so.
No.
But you
And
know, grandchildren, remember.
Grandchildren.
Knit for grandchildren.
And then there's like pattern. We don't want to show all the pattern here. But actually the one on the front is the one that I bought it for.
That's
was for
really
this
cute.
one. I really liked that one. And what I love is it shows the Waldorf dolls through here. There's a lot of really fun ones that they've photographed. Some of everyone's favorites, which are the Fig and Me, and I don't even know how to say some of them, but little Jenny Wren dolls. There's a lot of really fun dolls in here, so that of course appeals to me.
That's awesome. Which means you should definitely show us your doll that you're
Yep.
working on.
Oh, my doll. Yep.
Yes.
I'll show you my doll. Well, I said last time that sometimes they look creepy when you're starting because of how you form the head and
Right.
everything, and then when you stitch the skin on, it's kind of like Frankenstein on the head, and this is what I mean on the back of the head, is it looks kind of like Frankenstein. She doesn't have any hair yet. I put clothes on her so I wouldn't startle everybody, shock everyone. So she looks kind of creepy right now. Like her head is a little bit undersized for her body, but once you add the hair gets really big, or at least how I like to make it.
This
then
little
it
dress
bounces
is
up.
darling.
But I wanted to make it to model my doll clothes that I make for 18-inch dolls, and the last doll I made was too small, and so I needed to make another one. And this one is about 1 inch smaller than I would like, but it actually works really well. But I have her hair. Her hair's right here. Let's
What
switch
color
them.
is her hair going to be?
This is her hair. Ooh.
Well, that would be
It's mohair, and it says mohair and wool. Apparently, mohair is not wool.
You know what? I feel really embarrassed that I don't actually know what
I don't
mohair
know,
is.
but if it's mohair and wool, then they must not be. So, let's see. She's gonna have a
So
side.
she looks even.
She has a side. She's really extreme because the side of her head's shaved, and then down here.
Deborah, that's just not right.
She
Okay.
was born in
Have
the
your
80s.
children look away so they're not afraid. Okay.
I'm just waiting for the
Yeah.
other mohair yarn to arrive so I can crochet the wig cap to
Oh,
attach.
okay.
And then I can put her hair on, and then she will be pretty again.
But she was really cute with the hat on,
So the hat.
too. That's a very cute hat.
Oh, I put it on. I keep putting it on all funky, but
She's cute. I love this little, like, it's very sailor-esque.
I showed this
Well, with
one
the
last
little
time.
seals, it's so fun.
I was
didn't
calling
see
it Navy Seals, but it's more Parisian. Wait,
Yes,
what's
it's
wrong with me now? I
definitely-
can't say that word. Anyways,
Yeah, Parisian.
Parisian seals. I showed this one last time, which I thought was
Cute.
fun. But now that it's on a doll,
Yeah,
it's even cuter.
it's even cuter.
So
Well,
there's
she
my
is just
doll.
so cute.
So then I
How
can
fun.
start taking pictures of the doll clothes finally when she has her hair on my doll. That's what I've been dreaming of for the last year and a
Right.
half. Why I wanted to make these dolls was for that purpose.
Okay,
so.
but the big question is, does she have a little bum?
Not
Does she
not
have
yet.
a belly button?
Not yet. She doesn't
Aw.
have a belly button or the cute little bum yet.
You have to give her both because
Right now, her arms are pinned on, so I mean.
Oh, she's not
she's-
finished yet.
She's not finished.
Okay, well that
Okay.
makes sense.
All right, there's our knitting. Wow.
That was
Okay.
well, and dolls.
And dolls.
That was good.
Wow, we are
It's going to be a little bit longer podcast.
going to be
it's
talking
okay.
forever because now we're getting into the meat of what we wanted to talk about.
Well, maybe we'll spend a little more time. We'll do a little bit of it on this one, and then we can talk more on our next podcast.
Okay, we might have to do that. We might have to
Let's do
that.
our snippets from the past, and,
Okay.
and we want to talk about quilts. So we are from a quilting family, right?
Yep.
Would you describe us that way?
Well, we're a lot more of a family than quilting family, but
Okay,
that
we're
can...
an everything family, but I would say that as far as I would define it, kind of the homemaking art that I've seen carry generation to generation has been quilting.
Yeah.
My mother has quilts, hand-pieced, hand-quilted, beautiful quilts that her grandmother made. So that would be our great grandmother.
I'm really confused.
I'm sorry, I got confused. Our great grandmother made, and so she has those, and then our grandmother quilted, our mom and her sisters have quilted, and our one aunt, Susan, my mom's just younger sister, is probably the biggest with quilting, for sure the biggest with quilting. She just makes amazingly beautiful quilts. And in our generation, the grandchildren, I'm the oldest grandchild in that family, down to how old is Lee? 15-year-old is my youngest cousin. Big family, lots of kids who all have lots of kids. But there's not as many of us who have continued with it.
Yeah, very few.
You and I have. Alexis, our youngest sister, does a little bit of hand quilting when there's a quilt up for the family, but doesn't do a ton other than that. And then
Adrienne, I know she
one of our
pieces.
cousins does some quilting. And then as far as piecing and quilting. And then most of our family, most of the girls in our family, at least know how to hand quilt, to put the stitches into the quilt and quilt it together, whether they do it very often. But not as many of us have carried the tradition on. But it's really fun right now because we have one of our cousins, Olivia, is getting married next month, and one of our traditions has been the wedding quilts for the grandchildren. And so right now at my Aunt Mary's house, and I think you have some pictures you're going to insert in, right?
I have a picture of the quilt.
A picture of the quilt that we're working on. It's a beautiful applique and pieced quilt, and it's up on old-fashioned wooden frames in my our Aunt Mary's family room.
And I think that they were her mom's, their grandma's friends.
I think you're right.
Which is fun.
Yeah. And we go over and visit and do lots of chit chat and sometimes make food and sit around and just quilt and talk, and it is one of my favorite memories.
But what I love is that we started playing under the quilts.
Yeah.
And if you come from a quilting family, you'll know what we talk about, playing under a quilt. And those are some really fond memories because all of my aunts and my mom and my grandma would be sitting around the quilt chatting, and we'd bring our dolls and toys and just play underneath. Right. It was the fort.
Coloring books.
And then when we were old enough, then we got to graduate to sitting at the quilt and sitting there learning to put our first stitches in, and you can barely reach up to do that, and that was really fun. And now we are the ones
we're the quilters,
doing the quilters and teaching our children, and I just took my children over this last week to show them how to put in the stitches, and because they had forgotten. It's been so long since I've done it. But I was thinking that it's really, really sad to me that it is no longer the norm to put up a quilt.
To hand quilt. Is that what you mean? Or
well, people would put up a quilt and you would hand quilt it, and everybody got together, and that was the normal thing that you did. People, were putting up a quilt. Okay, now people don't have those memories so much, and our generation and the next generation, they won't have those memories of sitting around the quilt, playing under the quilt, and the therapy.
Well, and that's been kind of our joke. They said when there were quilting circles, you didn't need a therapist because now, of course, I'm not saying that that's necessarily true, but just kind of something we've kind of joked about in our family, because what would happen is you come together and there's all this time and your hands are busy doing something, and those of us who like to do any kind of stitching or handcrafts where you sit and keep your hands busy, but your mind fairly free, you can just enjoy so many good memories, and so many bonds are made, and so many problems are talked through, and connections made.
That's what it is connecting with other people, because right now the connection between people in general is just broken. I mean, even people in your home, your next door neighbors, there's just not a connection. We have fences up. So what I think is really interesting is that I love podcasts because I feel like I am connecting with somebody. So my husband, Jason, was asking, because I just had podcasts on Eternally, and he'd walk in and You're watching someone talking about yarn again. Really?
No, but it feels like that knitting or quilting circle
and
again.
He was asking what the draw was, and and he loves old cars, and he likes to restore them and rebuild them. He did that with his dad. He's doing that with his daughters right now. And I was saying, just imagine that you're standing around in your garage with your best friends talking about your car and all the new things that you bought for it and all the improvements that you've made and what problems you had to solve to build it. And his eyes lit up. He says, oh, I get it. He understood it now.
Right.
We just had to understand that it's that connection, I think, that we're missing a lot of the time with people.
I think you're right, yeah.
So that's why I love a lot of, the quilting and these crafts, is that it connects us with other people. And knitters, quilters, readers, like there are certain groups of people that I think everybody will know what I'm talking about, that it draws you together and you create a connection instantly.
Well, and I think that people everywhere, but especially women, we need each other. We need those connections. We need those conversations. And that's a wonderful excuse to get together and do something productive, something you enjoy, but then to also form those relationships. And they build us up and they make us feel united in what we're doing. And I love that. I love the connections that I have. And it's interesting that my two aunts, who are the ones who do the most quilting and sewing, are the ones that I'm closest with. And I don't think I love all my aunts and we have great relationships, but I don't think that it's because of a common interest. A common interest can be part of it, but I think it's the time spent and the way we've connected in those times, working together. But we've just loved quilting, and I wouldn't call myself a great quilter by any means. It's not even something I do all the time, but I definitely have a tender place in my heart for it. And every one of my children, except for one, because that's a horrible story and I won't even tell it to you, but has their baby quilt. And it's something that they value and treasure. And because they've been around when they've seen other quilts made, they know what goes into it. And so they value it, and it's important to them. And I was the first one to get that first grandchild wedding quilt.
So what is the tradition, the wedding quilt?
All right. So it's just that the wedding gift from the aunts all together to the next grandchild that's getting married is that wedding quilt. And so it's chosen, the colors are chosen based on the colors that they like, but then the pattern is chosen based on the makers and what they want to make.
And I believe it's always been Aunt Susan, except for a few quilts when she was not able to.
When she wasn't able to do it, or when it was for her children. Like, I pieced the one, I think it was for I don't want to say this wrong.
You and I did one.
For at least one of her kids. I've pieced a couple of them. You've done a couple of them. Mary's done several of them. Yeah. But mostly it's our Aunt Susan. Yeah. She's just so good at it. Who have pieced those quilt tops together. And then
I forgot that I did a few. Now I'm thinking about it, like, wow, I've done more quilts
I feel really bad, because I think that if you were going to be one of the grandchildren and you're thinking, ooh, a quilt, you're thinking Aunt Susan quilts. Mm-hmm. And then if you get an Emily quilt, they're going to Wow. I hope they didn't feel that way. I'm sorry, cousins, if that's how you feel. I really did my best. I think they were cute, but Susan's definitely much better than I am. But then we all the sisters help, and they help pay for the supplies. And then everybody who can is supposed to come and stitch. And even several of my uncles will at least put a couple stitches in it. When Grandpa was still alive, he even would occasionally put just a couple.
My husband stitches. He's gone as often as possible, and he sat there for 30 minutes and stitched. And okay, I did my part.
But there's something so wonderful about a hand quilted quilt.
Now you have yours still.
I still have mine, but it's getting a little thin in place. It has been used. And it needs some repair. There's a couple of seams. Oh, that would be great. Next week. Yeah, and mine actually, I feel really bad. I had mine on a quilt stand, and years ago it was near the window.
Oh, so the edges.
So part of it got a little sun faded, and now it's not there anymore. And I'm really careful. We don't really use it anymore because I want to preserve that. I think those are heirlooms. They should be passed down, just like my mother has a quilt, or two, I think, quilts from her grandmothers. That's our great-grandmothers, our children's great-great-grandmothers. Those are heirlooms, and they should be preserved.
I think so, but I also think that they should be loved and enjoyed, because a lot of things get tucked away into a closet or into a box or whatever, like china and things like that, and they never get used for fear that you're going to destroy it or use it.
Well, but I think that they were used. They were definitely used, but they got to a certain point where they were a little more fragile. And so that's where I am with my wedding quilt. I feel like it's at a certain point where it's getting a little more fragile, and I'd rather preserve it. And it's still out. It's still displayed. Like, it's right up at the top of my stairs. You can still see it.
Yeah.
And it's not like I never use it, but just, it's not the quilt that you like, oh, I want to make a fort in the family room.
Yeah,
so let's get that out and use it.
I just think it's really important when you have these things that have been made with such care that you use them. You know, that's what they've been made for, was not to hide somewhere, but
I remember
to use.
For my birthday, I think 21 years ago, my grandmother Gray, our father's mother, gave me a pair of pillowcases that had the crocheted edge, but that she had hand painted. Do you remember the painted ones?
No.
She had hand painted. That was a big thing at the time, the fabric painting. Floral pattern, and they were just stunning. And I said to her, I don't want to use these. I want to frame them and keep them. And she said, she was so offended. She says, you better use those. So I think I know what you mean.
That's what she told me, actually, and that's when when I shifted my thinking there, because I did have quite a few things like that that I had folded and I put in the linen closet, and there they sat.
Right.
And after she said that, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to use it. And I used it, and I used it up.
That's what's happened with those pillowcases, is I have used them to the point where they're just, I want to at least preserve that edging and add it to a new pillowcase, but the body of the pillowcase is just...
But if I went to such effort and somebody just hid it away, I would be really sad.
I agree.
But I do think we don't want to be reckless and just, you know, if you have something that you really cherish and you love, you know, do take care of it.
It's true, you know, sorry if this puts my mom on the spot just a little bit, but I knit her a scarf that's beaded.
I remember that. That's beautiful.
It's so pretty, but it was painstaking, like as in my fingers were bleeding, because it was fine and kind of a tight gauge because of the beads, and I tap my finger like as I knit, because I flick knit, and I tend to flick and tap and flick and tap and flick and tap like that, and I just tapped my poor finger till it was split. Anyway, not that that even matters, because I made it, I enjoyed it, and I wanted her to wear it, but I don't think I've ever seen her wear that. And so I don't want to be the crazy lady who just knits things for people that aren't like that. You're like, oh, thanks, this is what I wanted. You know, the ugly
like the
things.
Crocheted toilet roll covers.
Oh,
that was
so
a clown.
If
you're afraid of clowns, here, happy birthday. Sorry, somebody gave me one.
Yes, I really don't want to make those ever. Except for maybe as a joke. But but it was really beautiful, and it seemed to me like it would just be her aesthetic. And anyway, I think she's afraid to wear it. So
we do have a lot of quilt talk, so we're going to need to have our next episode be all about quilts, because today we went to a quilt show in Springville, to the Springville Art Museum. And they have an annual quilt show there that I love. We always go with my girls, and then we go to lunch after at this really art trolley car. Is that what it's called?
Art Trolley Cafe or something
like that. That's in Springville, Utah. And it's a lot of fun. So we got some pictures of some quilts that we loved, and we got a picture with one of the designers of one of the quilts that was just so much fun.
And she is the one who won the viewer's choice.
Yes.
And she was so fun to talk to.
And so I think that we will talk about quilts more and show some pictures of quilts. We have actually some quilts to show
that we've made.
Or I'm just trying to think. Yeah, we'll do that next time.
That we have a whole podcast about.
Yeah, because quilting is just one of those things that you could talk about forever, like knitting. So
yes.
So
the problem is that hopefully by the next podcast I'm going to have some finished objects.
I know. Well, we'll have to have some knitting in there, of course, but
it'll just be like knitting and quilting instead of today was knitting and quilting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So we do have a Ravelry group, because I'm so Ravelry savvy, I can't even say it. That
I want to be.
I only did it for you people, I want you to know.
You know, I started out and I use Ravelry all the time to find patterns. And I used to be faithful about putting up my projects,
Yeah.
but I haven't put any up in like over a year.
You know, the only thing that I do on there is I go and like all the patterns that I like, and then when I download them and I knit them. I don't do anything else in there.
It's like the favorite browsing.
Yeah.
Before bedtime browsing, looking for
it's
more
like
patterns.
Pinterest for knitting.
Except for then you could actually get the pattern right there.
Yes, you could.
And learn about other people. But
yeah, so because I am so savvy with this, I finally figured out how to make a group. So we do have a Ravelry group for our podcast.
Which is the Meanwhile at the Castle, right?
So go there, Meanwhile at the Castle, and you can find us there. You can
also, what is your name on Ravelry? Do you have a name on Ravelry?
I'm sure I do.
But you don't remember what it is.
I'll put it on the bottom here of the screen.
I am E.G. Clawson, which is Clawson. So put that on there too.
Okay.
And I am on Ravelry and occasionally do stuff. More than that, you can find me on Instagram.
Yeah,
that's where I spend more time. And I'm Salt City Knits on Instagram.
And I'm Indigo Chicken Dolls.
Indigo Chicken Dolls.
I'm putting these all on the bottom of the screen.
That's good, because you never remember all this. We didn't plan this ahead of time. We just are living our crazy
now
lives.
I do have to at the very end, because last time I was alluding to something that I was making, but I couldn't show it yet. So I'm going to show it now. And which one was it? I have to remember. So I had a special order from Knit and Pretty.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I can't stand it.
Okay,
I can't see it. Wait, I'm looking at the bag. Is it the bag? It
was a special order for the
Lauren?
Grandma.
Oh, I can't remember her name right now. I feel so bad.
They're not going to watch this. That's good.
They're not going to.
Because it's a gift.
It's so cute. Oh my gosh, look how cute
it's
that
a
is.
retro camper. I'm calling it the Glamper.
It's the caravan. Look how cute that is. Oh, and look at that cute little fur pom-pom. Oh my gosh. How cute is that?
So I made this, and I couldn't show it last time because it wasn't finished, you know. And it was going to be a gift, and I didn't know if she was going to watch this or not. But
you know my birthday's in 2 weeks.
I know. But
oh, it's so cute. That's adorable.
I made one for my Etsy shop.
It's
just
so
one,
adorable.
just one because it was a lot of work. So I don't know if I'll make
so
one.
Cute.
So I have one for my Etsy shop.
That is so cute. Hold on. Can I open it?
Yeah, inside I put like crumpled up
paper to give it its shape.
Yeah, because I hate.
Do you have any pockets in there?
Yeah, there's a pocket in there.
Oh.
And then there's a wrist loop here for it.
And I love it. The inside fabric looks like the interior of a little vintage caravan. Deborah, these are so adorable.
So I was really excited. So I have one, whole bag to put on my shop.
Cute, adorable tag too. How fun!
I know, I felt quite official having this tag.
Look at that. That's so adorable. Deborah, that is so adorable.
So my Etsy shop is Indigo Chicken, and I will put a link, or put this on the bottom and in the show notes also.
That's so cute.
So that's really fun. Actually, the one, let's see, this one has a yellow zipper and a pink pom-pom. That one is not for you. This one is.
That is so adorable. So was it Lauren who ordered that, the owner, or who was it the owner?
No, her grandma.
She ordered it, but not for herself, for
Lauren.
somebody. For Lauren.
Yes.
For Lauren.
She pulled me aside in the back and goes, I want one of your bags. So, anyways.
Oh, how fun. It's so cute.
Make sure now.
Wait, we have to do one more thing before we end.
What is that?
We have to do What Are You Reading?
Oh,
before
yes,
you
we have
end.
to do that. I forgot
We have
about
to
that
talk
every
about
time.
our books.
And I brought my book. You can't
It's buried
see
in all
down
her
here.
stuff down here.
It is buried. Actually, I'm not going to talk about that one because it goes along with what we're talking about. The other one.
Oh, okay.
Emily, what are you reading?
Well, I'm teaching a couple of classes, and so for these classes, I have to read a lot. Yeah. And so a lot of my reading time is taken up by study, and I enjoy that thoroughly. We're studying actually different religious worldviews. Well, not just religious. We're studying worldviews in this class. And so that's really fascinating. And I'm reading a book called Understanding the Times, which is a little bit annoyingly biased, but still a really great read. But what I'm reading for pleasure right now, I actually have, I'm listening to an Audible of Call the Midwife. I've watched all this, well, except for the last season, which I hated, but I've watched the rest of the series, and I'm listening to the books. And that one, the first book, is really good.
The first one, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, and then I'm also just restarted Persian Pickle Club.
That's the one I was going to talk about.
Oh, you're reading that one too? So you go ahead and talk about that one.
Well, I just love that one because the Persian Pickle Club, a Persian pickle is a paisley. And so in the book, somebody got this, bolt of paisley fabric that she just treasured, and so everybody has little snippets of it in their quilts, which is where the title comes from. But just in the opening chapter, they talk about a lot of what we talked about, the wisdom and the connections that come from meeting and quilting and just the intimate groups.
It's about a group of ladies in the Depression in Kansas. Yeah. And them having this quilting group. And
introducing an outsider into their group and kind of what happens there. And it's just really a sweet kind of home feel. What is the right word?
Yeah,
just comforting
homey,
kind of
feel.
Book. And so I'm rereading that one as well.
But the thing I love about it is that it's not just something that's really kitschy that only somebody who's a quilter would want to read. No, not at all.
There's just a lot of wisdom in it.
There's a lot of wisdom, but there's also some history. I love anything that can give me a better flavor of a time period when I'm reading it.
Does.
And it really kind of gives you an insider's view of the Depression and how that affected a lot of people. So I'm really enjoying that one as well. And I just recently restarted it because you told me you were reading it. And I went, oh yeah, I've been looking for something pleasurable to read, and so I started that one.
Yeah, I'm loving that one, and that one is just a pleasure read. It really is. Right. It is a pleasure. So I'm also reading. I have the book. I found it under the pile. The Alchemist by, how do you say it? Paul Coelho.
I think it's Coelho.
Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho.
And this one I'm reading for a traveling book group, and I am over my allotted time reading this because it's been busy. But it's not a hard read. I'm just really not getting into it. I feel like when you read something or you hear something and you get these little gems of wisdom that stick out, and then you think about those and ponder those, and you think, oh, that's just so enjoyable to chew on for a while. Well, this one has gem after gem after gem after gem. Like, it never ends. So I feel like none of them have a chance to sink in. That it's almost too much. It's almost overwhelming.
It's too insightful.
It's like the Psalms in the Bible, where every verse is like another gem that you can just chew on that for a long time. But it's an entire book, a story of a whole bunch of those. And so I feel like there's like this overall message that they're wanting to convey, but I'm getting lost in the details. And so I think what I need to do is I just need to sit down and read it really quickly and get the big picture, and then you can go back and work on
that would make sense.
Chewing on the meat of it kind of thing. So if I just go through, I mean, this would be done in an evening. It's not hard at all, and it definitely has a lot of really great messages and great things to, gems. It just has a lot of gems in it. Just a lot of them.
Good to know.
So
I know I need some book recommendations too, because I love books that have meaning. Occasionally I'll read what we call popcorn or candy reading, where it's tasty and quick. Then you're over it and you don't really get anything out of it.
It doesn't sustain you.
There's no nutrition.
Yeah.
And that's fun. But most of what I look for is something that's really readable. You move through it kind of quickly and enjoy the read, but you still feel like you're left with something after. Yeah. And a lot of the books that I love, like the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, this Persian Pickle Club, I love the Little House books.
Oh, those are good.
They're so amazing. The Little Britches series, Little Women. I mean, a lot of the classics are really going to fit into that.
Hiding Place.
Yes. Oh, right. Those are all where they're an enjoyable read while you're reading it. They're not just a hard slog through.
Yeah.
But you still feel so enriched from having
it uplifts you. It doesn't weigh you down.
And it educates. I want to learn something.
Yeah,
I don't want to just read I like to read for entertainment, but I'm much more entertained if I also learn something.
Yeah.
And so when I ask for book recommendations, a lot of the time from people,
a lot of the time,
or things I've already read, and that's okay.
Or you get trash a lot of the time.
Well, yeah, we just have a different threshold for what I'm willing to read.
Trash,
as far as
I don't want to say somebody's not good at writing, or what it is something I don't want to put in my mind, and I don't want to fill my mind with something because I feel like that's not something I want living there. And so
and I guess I don't get recommended a lot of trash because most of the people that recommend books to me are people Not necessarily that I would trust with everything, but
Yeah.
as far as their recommendations, but that they're not going to recommend like
Well,
anything really.
yeah, that's what I was saying with the online
Nasty,
book
but-
club that I'm in. I jokingly call it.
By the way,
book
we're
snob.
both in that.
We're
I just
both
don't
in it.
spend
That's
much
right.
time.
I jokingly call it the book snob group.
Yeah,
because
we are.
I know that if they recommend something, it's highly likely that I'm going to agree with them. You know, but
Yeah.
I don't want to go to just any source and
Unless
you know,
it's Tess of the D'Urbervilles, because I'm never going to like that book.
Yeah.
I hate that book.
Anyway, so the majority of the time, we may like the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe we need one more thread. We need a what are you reading?
I'd
thread.
love to hear what people are
Let's
reading.
have a what are you reading?
In fact, we really should make that. Because honestly, the alpaca question's really not that exciting to anybody, probably but me.
Unless they're a yarn lover and they want to start raising
Okay, how about
alpacas.
either one? If you comment on either the alpaca question,
That makes it
or
really hard. Can we just have two and just have one be the drawing? That makes it hard for drawing.
yeah, but I'm saying we should do the drawing for the reading one. So still answer the alpaca question if you have an opinion.
Okay.
But we'll do the giveaway for the.
Okay, for
What are
those
you
of you
reading?
that didn't want to listen to all the quilting thing and you've turned it off by now and you're thinking that you're entering the giveaway because you answered the alpaca question and she just changed it, blame her.
So what you need to do is put a little note in the alpaca thing which
Okay.
says watch to the end for the real drawing information.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Wow, that just was fun.
We could talk forever. It's a bad thing.
Obviously. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you come back again. And hopefully it won't be 3 weeks again because now that life has
Summer is
not
over.
settled down, it's still busy, but
Well,
not as
it's not
stressful.
Right.
Then we can do some of these more fun things too.
Mhm. That'll
So.
be really fun. Thanks for
All right, thanks
letting
for
me
watching.
come on and
I know.
be part of it.
It's fun. I love my sis.
Yay.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Queen Emily.
I'm